There are secrets hidden in plain sight, symbols carved into history itself. But what if some secrets were never meant to be uncovered? Tonight, we step into the forbidden, a tale of mystery, power, and fear. Welcome to the Inner Circle. The rain fell in steady sheets as Daniel Carter pulled his truck into the gravel driveway of the hunting lodge. The flickering light of the porch lamp revealed the familiar faces of his old hunting pals standing in the cold, sipping whiskey from tin cups. Among them was Henry Lancaster, the eldest of the group, and a man whose grizzled beard and knowing eyes had always given him an air of mystique. That night, after the hunt, Henry pulled Daniel aside. "Ever thought about joining the Masons?" he asked with a smile. Daniel had heard about the Masonic Lodge before, an old fraternity steeped in tradition and secrecy. He figured it was nothing more than a social club for old men who enjoyed cigars and conspiracy theories. But Henry spoke of it differently, with an intensity that intrigued him. The next week, Daniel attended his first meeting. At first, it was as he expected: rituals, handshakes, and a sense of brotherhood he found comforting. The year passed quickly, and Daniel found himself enjoying his newfound fraternity. That was until one evening, Henry approached him with a different offer. "You're ready for the next step," Henry said. "The hidden circle." Daniel had never heard of this before. "It's not for everyone," Henry warned. "Once you see, you can't unsee." Intrigued and flattered, Daniel agreed. His induction took place in a chamber beneath the main lodge, candlelit, with symbols carved into the stone walls. The men gathered around him, their faces shadowed in the dim light. It was a strange ceremony, one that made his skin crawl, but what followed was even stranger. The hidden circle did not just meet within the lodge. They traveled, often, to places Daniel had never heard of: remote villages, forgotten catacombs, islands where maps showed nothing but blank space. Each journey revealed secrets that made Daniel question everything he knew about history, science, and reality itself. In Romania, they ventured deep into an abandoned monastery, where monks had once kept records of ancient entities beyond human understanding. As Daniel ran his hands over the faded manuscripts, he saw disturbing illustrations: creatures with hollow eyes and elongated limbs standing among human figures, whispering something unseen. The text described rituals meant to appease these beings, keeping them from entering our world. The villagers nearby still refused to go near the monastery, claiming that those who did often never returned. In the jungles of Peru, they uncovered an ancient temple buried beneath the rainforest floor. The stone carvings showed humanoid figures with grotesquely elongated fingers reaching toward the sky. As Daniel descended into the temple's depths, he heard whispers in a language he didn't understand, though his mind seemed to grasp their meaning. One of the other members, a historian named Gerald, translated part of the inscriptions. They wait beneath, they listen, they hunger. During a trip to a hidden cavern beneath the Sahara, the circle found something that made Daniel's blood turn to ice. An ossuary of bones, not human in shape, stretching for miles. A city of the dead, sealed away, as if the world itself had tried to forget them. When one of the younger members took a fragment of bone as a souvenir, a terrible wind howled through the cavern, and the shadows seemed to shift. That night, the young man vanished from their camp without a trace, leaving only his belongings behind. The Circle's expeditions grew bolder. They traveled to Siberia, following rumors of an underground ruin unearthed by melting permafrost. What they found was not ruins, but a city, vast, frozen, and seemingly abandoned for millennia. Carvings on the walls depicted humanoid beings, not quite human, with eyes too large for their skulls and fingers that seemed to end in claws. As they explored, Daniel heard something, scratching. At first, he thought it was the wind. Then it became rhythmic, deliberate. They left in a hurry. In the depths of the Indian Ocean, on an island uncharted by any modern maps, they found a temple beneath the waves. The masonry was impossibly old, black stone covered in coral and encrusted with barnacles. At its center was a doorway leading into a corridor that spiraled downward. As they descended, the air thickened, oppressive. They had to leave when one of their own, a man named Preston, began speaking in a voice not his own. Guttural, inhuman, ancient. Daniel began to notice the toll these expeditions took. The members aged rapidly. Some grew pale, their eyes sunken and haunted. Others developed nervous twitches, speaking of things they saw in their sleep. More than a few simply disappeared, their names erased from lodge records as if they had never existed. He met one man, Charles, who had been in the Circle for decades. Charles warned him that what they sought was not knowledge. It was something else entirely. "We dig too deep," Charles whispered one night. "We bring things back with us, things we don't even see, and they never leave." Daniel began experiencing time lapses. He would wake up in strange places, lost hours from his last memory. He saw shadowy figures at the edges of his vision, and his reflection in the mirror sometimes took moments too long to move. Then, one day, he made a decision. He wanted out. Henry warned him, "Once you're in, you're in." But Daniel insisted. He stopped answering calls. He distanced himself from the lodge. He told himself it was over. It wasn't. At first, it was subtle, shadows moving in his peripheral vision, the feeling of being watched. Then, it escalated. Cars followed him on the highway, their headlights unwavering in his rearview mirror. Strangers stood across the street from his apartment building, dressed in black, unmoving. His phone rang at odd hours. Silence on the other end. One night, he returned home to find his front door ajar. Inside, nothing had been taken. Nothing was out of place. But on his coffee table sat a single object, a Masonic ring, identical to the one he had thrown away weeks before. Then came the dreams, visions of Henry standing in a place of endless dark, whispering words Daniel could not understand. And every night, the whispers grew clearer, as if something was trying to reach him. He moved to a different city, changed his name. He even considered leaving the country altogether, but the hidden circle was always there, watching. The same black cars, the same silent phone calls, the same impossible shadows creeping closer. One night, he saw something outside his window, a shape that should not have been real. Its long fingers pressed against the glass, its hollow eyes peering into him. He shut the blinds, heart pounding, but he knew it wouldn't stop. Daniel knew he had made a mistake. He was never going to get his normal life back. The last time anyone saw him, he was boarding a plane to a destination unknown. The only clue he left behind was a note scrawled in frantic handwriting found on the floor of his apartment. Some doors should never be opened, but once you do, they never close again. Weeks later, a new resident moved into Daniel's old apartment. A letter arrived in the mail, postmarked from an untraceable location. The envelope was empty, save for a single piece of paper with only 2 words scribbled across it.
Still watching.
Some secrets were meant to stay buried. Some doors should never be opened. But now that you know, they've already seen you watching. Now, it's too late to turn back. Like, subscribe, and comment before they come looking for you.